You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Monday, happy Moon Day, and happy new moon in Gemini. The new moon was exact this morning, making this Monday honestly such a beautiful day to set intentions, look towards the future, and really get curious. That's what Gemini energy is all about. So in today's video, we'll talk about the energy of this new moon. We'll talk about what aspects it's making to other planets that are supporting us and helping us make those intentions and look to the next phase, look to the chapter ahead. And then we'll go through each sign, what this new moon means for you based on your rising sign. So if you're finding this video after the fact, if you aren't able to join us live, I'll go ahead and put chapters on the timeline so you can jump to your sign if you're looking for a quick horoscope. All right, so let's talk about this new moon. It's happening at 9 degrees in Gemini. So you can see on our current chart here, the moon is now at 12 degrees, just past that new moon mark. And this is a great example or representation, if you will, of what a new moon is. So it's when the moon and the sun are at the same exact point in the sky. And the reason the moon looks dark to us is because the sun is lighting up the dark side or the other side of the moon that we never see. So yes, the moon and the sun formed a conjunction. It was about 4:30 this morning when the new moon was exact. And oftentimes astrologers or people in the spiritual community will say to wait after the new moon to set your intentions, because now we're in that building, planning, preparing phase of the moon cycle as it starts to gain light. And I give this example a lot, but the moon's phases are kind of like a cup being filled up. That's how I look at it. Like the moon is the cup, and the more light, the more water is kind of the analogy you can look at. So right now the cup is empty. There are limitless possibilities. We can fill the cup up with anything we want to fill it up with. Hey, you don't want to fill it up with water? That's fine. The cup's empty. It's a brand new clean slate and new opportunity. And then the full moon is when the cup is at that peak point. It's almost like if you fill a cup up with water and you can actually fill it above the line, that's like the full moon energy, and pouring out the cup is after the full moon, letting that release happen. So anyway, there's my little 2 cents about the moon phases. I've talked about this before, but specifically, let's go into what a new moon in Gemini is bringing. So Gemini is the sign of the twins. In fact, let me see if I can pull up a little graphic for you here so you can get a snapshot of the Gemini energy. One moment. Let's see, Gemini. Here we go. Let's see if my computer, Mercury is still retrograde. I don't know if my computer is going to like me today. So that's another good point. Mercury is still retrograde, and this new moon is ruled by Mercury. So, you know, as much as it's exciting and we're looking ahead, there is still a little bit of confusion or, you know, some communication issues that could pop up. So here we go. Gemini, the sign of the twins, rules our knowledge, our curiosity, our communication. It's very adaptable and speedy because it is ruled by Mercury, bringing this busy energy. In fact, under this new moon, it could feel like there's an abundance of things that you want to do, or a lot of different goals you want to set. You want to set an intention over here for this part of your life, but also 3 more intentions for these parts of your life. Gemini energy can feel very scattered, but it's very charismatic, very friendly, extroverted, humorous. So kind of a light energy as well that comes along with the buzziness, the scatteredness of the Gemini energy. Social obligations are really big under Gemini energy. So under this new moon, it's a great time to brainstorm, to bounce ideas off of other people, because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, which rules our mind. It's very mentally focused energy, making it a great day, like I said, to brainstorm, to think of all the possibilities. That's what Gemini energy is really great for. Also, we can just praise, because this new moon officially marks the end of eclipse season. Now that solar eclipse, that lunar eclipse have passed, we're past that entire phase now, embarking on a new chapter coming out of eclipse season. So I see this new moon in Gemini as really a time to gather all the data, maybe reflect with Mercury still retrograde on the things you learned during eclipse season, and then look to the future. How can I apply those things? How can I make something new? Or what intentions do I want to set about what I'm learning, how I'm communicating, all things ruled by Gemini. A time to ask questions of yourself and of others. And when I say brainstorm, it's a great time to bounce ideas off of other people too. Just make sure whoever you're surrounding yourself with is someone you trust enough to be totally authentic and vulnerable with, because your intentions aren't going to hold as much weight unless you're being truly honest with yourself and transparent with other people as well. So as we set intentions under this dark moon, really hone in on the ideas that are coming through, on the conversations you're having. Words are superpowers right now. So be open to new information, be open to new collaboration with Gemini ruling friendships, and this could bring some clarity about the path ahead the more you have those conversations. And if you're not in a situation where, you're talking to other people, or you're not ready to share your ideas with other people, grab a journal and write it out. Have that conversation with yourself through words. This is also a favorable time to upgrade technology, upgrade transportation, both things ruled by Gemini. Not necessarily long-term travel, but short-term. So think a new car, a new bike, or maybe a trip a couple hours away that you've been thinking about taking. This would be a great time to set intentions on that front. Or when it comes to your technology, maybe it's you're realizing in order to achieve the next step or move in that direction that you're wanting to go, you're going to have some better tools in your tool belt, aka new technology. So this new moon is forming actually a couple different angles that are really helpful. Not a whole lot of activity going on in the planets today, which is making this a really beautiful time to just focus on the new moon energy. Like I said, to set those intentions, have those conversations. Hello, happy new moon, and hopefully you are all enjoying your Memorial Day as well, taking a moment to think about the sacrifices the generations before us have made for us to live the beautiful lives we live today. And so glad to be out of the eclipse season. Absolutely, Bailey. All right, so let me pull back up our chart, and you can see a couple different sextiles this new moon is making. So here's the moon. And the Mars-Jupiter conjunction in Aries, still within a degree. That conjunction was exact Saturday into Sunday. And so this is forming a loose sextile this morning, a very loose sextile to the new moon. It's not exact. It was exact on Sunday night. But with so much energy, thinking about the future, looking ahead, setting intentions, this Mars-Jupiter conjunction is like supercharging that vitality, that motivation, that optimism when we are looking ahead. So it really is helping us I keep saying set intentions, but truly this is a beautiful day for you to set some intentions. It's giving us more energy, more motivation to call in the things that we want to achieve, we want to do, we want to learn in the next chapter. We're more confident, more optimistic, thanks to Mars and Jupiter supporting the Gemini moon. And it's like we can see all of the possibilities and we can see all the silver linings with Jupiter and Mars in Aries, like supporting this new moon. And also with Mars and Jupiter in Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, again, it's just enhancing the energy of starting something new, setting new intentions. So we have a lot of transits on our side today. The only other connection the Gemini moon is making today is a sextile to Chiron. So this happens at 5 p.m. Once the moon hits 15 degrees, it'll form that same 60-degree angle to Chiron in Aries. And this could bring about a healing opportunity for a lot of us. The focus is on information and communication with the moon in Gemini, and it's how we process our emotions through our words, through talking to other people, journaling, mentally processing things, really big for the Gemini moon. These conversations about your intentions, about your future, or just having open conversations with other people can bring about healing changes. And with this sextile to Chiron, you know, forming against the new moon or in aspect with the new moon, it's really asking us what still needs to be healed and how can these next steps we're taking support our healing journey. The Gemini moon can also bring new perspectives. It can allow us to kind of gather information here, gather information there, and then bring it together and find kind of common ground between perspectives. So having multiple conversations with different people in your life can be really valuable under the new moon, because one person might have one experience to share, another person might be able to fill in those gaps. So the warning label here is not to be gossipy. You don't want to be talking about other people with a bunch of other people. You know what I mean? We have a tendency to do that under a Gemini moon, or just Gemini season in general. You might have realized a lot more people are feeling chatty and gossipy and just wanting to share information with each other. But really try to keep the focus today on yourself and your intentions and the journey that you are walking through, rather than trying to catch the latest gossip or find out what so-and-so has been up to. You know, we've all been there. But sometimes on our healing journey, going back to the moon forming a sextile to Chiron, all it takes is one other perspective, one sentence, 3 words from somebody else to completely change the story we've been telling ourselves about our own healing, about our own trauma, about our own pain. So really, I just encourage you to be open to other people's opinions and perspectives today, and be open to sharing your own opinions, your own desires, your own intentions that you are setting under this new moon. Conversations are really, really powerful today. And those are all the connections the moon is making. We have no other planetary connections today. So really just focusing on gathering the information, setting the intentions, using your words today. I can't say that enough. Now let's talk through what this new moon means for each of the signs. And as always, refer to your rising sign if you know it. If you don't know it and you've never gotten a copy of your birth chart, you can scan the QR code in the corner here, or look in the description, thespiritualjournalist.com/birth chart, and look for ASC. That's your ascendant or rising sign. The reason we ask you to look at your rising sign is that most horoscopes actually base your horoscope or the message on your rising sign. A lot of people just aren't familiar. But if you don't know your rising sign, that's okay. Use your sun sign. As I always say, if it resonates, take it. If it doesn't, leave it. And this time we're also going to pull a card for each sign to see if any other messages need to come through. So here we go. Let's dive right in. We're going to start with our Gemini friends, and as I'm shuffling, just a reminder, if I haven't gotten to your sign, I will get to it. And if you join later, you'll be able to find this video anytime. I'm also structuring these horoscopes this time as questions because Gemini energy is very inquisitive. So these are the questions to ask yourself under this new moon as you are setting your intentions. All right, here we go. Our Geminis and Gemini risings. The question for you under this new moon, woo, already having cards fly out of the deck for you. The question for you under this new moon is, who do you want to become? The new moon is lighting up your first house, the house of self, identity, purpose. And this is an opportunity during Gemini season. Your sun is likely in your first house if you have a Gemini rising. This is a time to step into the next version of yourself. New moon, new you. That is your mantra. So just ask yourself, am I fully who I want to be? How can I take one more step or step in the right direction towards who I want to become? This is all about the evolution of self for you if you're a Gemini rising. And the card that flew out of the deck for you is Council of Light, Divine Orchestration, Helpers in the Subtle Realms. The moon has been transiting through your 12th house, and the sun has likely been transiting through your 12th house too. You might have had some spiritual lessons that you've learned over the past month or so, and you might have opened yourself up to new guidance. If you haven't already, know that you have people helping you in your own evolution. This card is here to remind you that you have guardian angels, spirit guides all around you, giving you that confidence and lighting your path ahead, supporting you every step of the way. So there's plenty of support behind you, even though sometimes it can feel scary to, put yourself out there or try something different or show up in a new way. You have plenty of support behind you, as proven by this card that literally flew out of the deck for you. Also, side note, Mercury retrograde is so real for me right now. My words are just not coming through clearly, so I apologize. One more week of this, you guys, and then Mercury stations direct this weekend. All right, moving on to our Taurus friends. This new moon is landing in your second house, actually the house already ruled by Taurus. So this is a very comfortable energy for you, and this new moon in Gemini is asking you, Taurus rising, what do you value? A really beautiful time to have conversations and reflections about what you value. Keep in mind, Mercury retrograde is also now in probably your first house or second house. Again, asking you to check back in with your own values, your own identity. This is a really beautiful new moon to brainstorm new ways to call in resources. The second house rules our physical income, possessions, and resources. So new financial opportunities could await for you if you are a Taurus rising. And this is a really transformative time with Mercury retrograde backing up into your first house. It's really a time to review your values. And let's see what card needs to come through for you. Ooh, don't dim to fit in. How are you dimming your light in order to fit in? So this ties into values. Who are you? What's important to you? And as Mercury retrograde moves back into your first house, it could have you reviewing, how are you showing up? Is that aligned with your values? And this could be an invitation under this new moon to crank up that light a little bit, to be a little bit more bold. And sometimes it takes us kind of asserting ourselves or standing up for ourselves to really check in with those values, because how can we really be aligned and tuned into our values if we aren't embodying them and expressing them? So don't dim to fit in. Wear your values on your sleeve, embody those values, and don't be afraid to let other people know what's important to you. Mercury retrograde has been hitting me so hard, especially with tech and texting. Girlfriend, I am right there with you. Like, my mental capacity is a little bit scattered right now. One more week, you guys. One more week. All right, Aries risings. This new moon lands in your third house of communication, of teaching and learning. And this new moon question for you is, What do you need to say? Maybe there's something that you've been holding back from communicating. This new moon is an opportunity for you to say it, for you to communicate what you've been feeling, or communicate your desires, what you want. Speaking, writing are huge for you, not only because this is a new moon in Gemini, but because it lands in your third house, which is traditionally ruled by Gemini. This new moon wants you to speak up for what's important to you. If you have a message that's been weighing on your heart, or even just a thought or an idea that you've been kind of sitting on and, mulling over, this new moon, share it with someone. Even if it's just someone you trust, even if you put the disclaimer, this is just an idea, something I've been thinking about, say it out loud, write it down, communicate your desires under this new moon. And the card that comes through for you is the ever unfolding rose, cracked open. It's happening for you, not to you. Oof, oof, oof. I love this. I love how we got the cracked open card for you, Aries risings, because it's really inviting you, kind of playing into that message. Crack yourself open. Be a little bit more vulnerable. Be willing to share what you've been kind of working on behind closed doors. And remember that these ideas that you're having are coming to you for a reason. They're happening for you, not to you, and they want to be birthed through you. So sharing your insights, even if it's not a big project or something you want to start on. You now have Mars and Jupiter moving through your first house if you're an Aries rising, or coming into your first house. There's a lot of motivation and stamina there, a lot of optimism there for you to show up even more boldly and more powerfully in the future. So all it might be is sharing that plan, that idea, that insight that you've been having with one other person, for it to completely crack you wide open and continue the unfolding of the ever unfolding rose. All right, Pisces risings. You are next. This new moon is landing in your fourth house of home and family. So the question I have for you under this new moon, if you're a Pisces rising, is what makes you feel safe? What makes you feel safe? The fourth house is all about nurturing. So how are you creating stability and safety for yourself in your own environment, in your own home, and in your own emotions? That's really the question for you to ask. And it could be who you're surrounding yourself with. It could be coming to terms with the family who raised you versus the family you're creating for yourself. This is also a great time if you have been looking to connect more with family members. New intentions around that could be really powerful for you. Maybe it's that you are trying to have a deeper connection to your family. Something that just came through is like, maybe sign up for Ancestry.com if you're a Pisces rising, and have those connections to the generations before you, to family members. Or if that's not right up your alley, this new moon is just a great time to take a look at your physical home and decide, okay, does this make me feel good? Does this make me feel safe? How can I implement new things here in order to feel more secure, to feel more comfortable when I come home? And it might be a matter of who you're inviting into your home, what your family life looks like. It could be a new home that you're calling in. So this is really about safety, home, and family for you. And if you're a Pisces rising, the message that is coming through for you, interesting, is share your voice, come out of the cave, persecution, expression. Interesting. I love that this says come out of the cave, because maybe for you, Pisces rising, it's not just about what makes you feel safe inside your home, but what makes you feel safe coming out of your home, getting out of your cave, being safe enough in your body to go enjoy the vibes of Gemini season, be social, be chatty, knowing that ultimately your vessel, your body, is your forever home, or not forever, but that's another spiritual conversation for another day. Being comfortable enough in your own body to be able to go out and enjoy social events and things, and then knowing that you have a safe place to retreat back to go back into your cave. But the card coming through for you is actually to express yourself a little bit more and come out of your home. So maybe that's coming up for you if you are a Pisces rising. We love the good vibes. I will always pull up a good vibes comment. All right, Aquarius risings. This new moon lands in your 5th house of fun, of creative expression. And so the question for you is, how can you make it more fun? How can you have more fun under the Gemini new moon and in this next phase? And maybe you're brainstorming all these ideas you have, or you've been trying to create more structure for yourself in some way, shape, or form. But this new moon is really encouraging you to figure out, okay, as you're planning, as you're dreaming, as you're setting intentions for this next phase, for this next step of your life, how can you infuse a little bit more fun into what you're creating? This new moon is also going to bring out your playful side if you are an Aquarius rising. So just be in that joy as it comes up and ask yourself, how can I feel like this more? How can I infuse this feeling into more of my daily life, into the mundane? How can I bring this joy, this playfulness into my everyday activities? All right, and the card coming through for you, Aquarius risings, is Mirror. Who or what is triggering you? Interesting that this card came up for you. I see this as, sometimes the environments we're in, Gemini is a social time, the environments we're in can be really triggering and can show us how we are expressing ourselves or how we're not fully expressing ourselves. So notice how other people are mirroring you when you're out in these social settings this Gemini season, when you're sharing your ideas with other people. Notice, am I being fully authentic? Am I able to be vulnerable and creative and playful and fun when other people are around? Sometimes Aquarius risings, kind of like to be weirdos on their own, like off in their own space, but around groups, they can be a little bit more detached or closed off. And so if you're having these conversations with other people under the new moon, notice, how are you showing up? Are you letting that playful side of yourself out to be seen? How are your relationships or the people you're surrounding yourself with, the situations you're surrounding yourself with, mirroring you? And are you being triggered? The message on this card is, who or what is triggering you? Something to keep in mind. All right, Capricorn risings. The question for you under the Gemini new moon is, how can you take better care of yourself? How can you take better care of yourself? Because this new moon lands in your 6th house of health and wellness. So your routines are getting a little boost this Gemini season. And as you're setting intentions under the new moon, it's a great time to think about, are my routines serving me? Are my habits serving me? How can I create a little bit more of organization? How can I organize my day a little bit more so there's more health and wellness built into the routine? So it's not this, hurdle that I have to get over every day. It's just part of my everyday life. And, it's also worth asking, serious Capricorn risings, are you allowing yourself to have a little fun as part of your routine too? Remember that health and wellness and playfulness all go hand in hand. When you're having fun, that's beneficial for your mental health, for your physical health, being in a good mood. So Gemini energy is very playful, very fun, very social. And this new moon could be asking yourself, are you getting out enough? Are you socializing enough as part of your routines? And also, what's your health and wellness looking like? Just looking at your habits in general is really favored under this new moon for you. And the message coming through for Capricorn risings is Lemuria, creating heaven on earth. It's happening. I love that we got this card when talking about routines and health and wellness, something that's very 3D and physical, right? But Lemuria is a concept of creating heaven on earth. And know that by infusing social time, fun, these things that support you into your routines, every little step you take is part of creating a more beautiful earth, creating a new earth. So even if it's just committing 20 minutes a day to a little yoga workout in your living room, that is putting out positive energy, positive vibes that are changing the energy of the entire world. Something as mundane as smiling at someone on the street is bringing up the vibration of the entire earth. I know it sounds super dramatic, but just pay attention to the little details that are going on throughout your day, Capricorn risings, and it's the little things under this new moon that can make a really big difference for you. Fun can be a chore for me as a Capricorn rising. Yeah, and so I love that you use the word chore, because this new moon is in your 6th house, which is very much like chore oriented. And I would invite you to just try not to look at fun as a chore, but think about, brainstorm, what makes me feel good, what makes me feel alive, what makes me feel well and contributes to my wellness, and how can I infuse that into my daily routine, into my everyday life, because the 6th house is all about those little everyday acts that build up over time. Always on point. Love to see that. Thank you, Bailey. All right. Moving on to our Sagittarius risings. This new moon in Gemini is landing in your 7th house of relationships and partnerships. So the question for you is, who can you team up with? Who can you team up with and collaborate with under this new moon? This could bring an opportunity for some sort of partnership or alliance to form, romantic or in business, or even just a friendship. A new friendship could come into your awareness under the new moon or in this next phase. So be open to connecting with other people in whatever capacity feels good, feels aligned for you. And I mean, that's probably not hard for you to do. If you're a Sagittarius rising, you probably love connecting with other people. But instead of it just being, Sagittarius risings can just be like, oh, a new connection, friend, fine, and it can be very like surface level. I would invite you to, as you're brainstorming what you want in the next chapter, what intentions you're setting in the next chapter, really think about what kind of people you want to connect with too. Maybe if you are a Sagittarius rising and you're looking for love, this would be a beautiful opportunity to make a list of the qualities that you want in a partnership. Or if there's an opportunity or some sort of goal you're setting or experience you're calling in under the new moon, ask yourself, what kind of person could help me get there? And create intentions or brainstorm around what kind of connections you want to make, rather than just being your spontaneous Sagittarius self and going out and seeing who you come across. That's great too, but that probably is more second nature for you. I would say be more intentional about the people you're teaming up with and the connections you're calling in this next phase under this new moon. And it could be as simple as talking to a trusted friend or family member about, like, this is really the kind of person I'm looking to bring into my life. This is the kind of connection I'm looking to make. And have it be a positive, lighthearted, fun conversation and see how that manifests under this Gemini energy. All right, and the card coming in for you, Sagittarius risings, is birthing a new age, birthing new creations, dreaming a new world into being. So you probably have a lot of ideas or visions that you're thinking about right now under the new moon in Gemini. It brings in a lot of mental stuff. It could feel like under this new moon, you're just getting all these ideas, or even just like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and so you're birthing the new age. And if you're a Sagittarius rising, you're so great at envisioning possibilities and seeing the big picture, which is awesome. But take into account the fact that you can't do it all alone. You shouldn't have to do it all alone, and you don't want to do it all alone. So how can you call in other people to support whatever you're creating? Bailey says, I find it amazing how you're bringing up how smiling can be changing the vibration of the planet. And something I try to do is say hi to people every 5 feet from me. I've been slacking lately, so I guess this was a reminder. And don't be hard on yourself, Bailey. Like, that's amazing that you already have that awareness. Years ago, my dad, who is a Capricorn moon and a very Capricorn-y person, that's not a word, but you know what I mean. He told me like years ago, he's like, I started doing this thing where I smile at people on the street. And it makes me feel better and it makes them feel better. And he tends to be someone who has like a very stern expression, or he can be really intimidating when people first get to know him. And I remember him telling me that, and then it sparked something in me, like, I should smile at people when I pass by them. Like, what's the harm? You know, like I could be making their entire day or just spreading a little positive energy, which smiling is like psychologically proven to make us feel better. So it's just a win-win all around. And I'm glad that you brought that up. Great Sag advice. That resonates. Oh, thank you for sharing. I love when you tell me it resonates, you guys. It's really confirming for me. Oh, I'll be looking for what kind of connection is important for my 3-year-old Sag rising. Yeah, this could be a great time for your 3-year-old to make some new friends, or a new friend could just come into their awareness, like maybe a closer friend, not just in a group setting, but maybe they make a new friend that's like a new best friend. Who knows? That's exciting. All right, moving on to our Scorpio risings. This new moon is very on brand for you if you are a Scorpio rising, and it's asking you what's been hiding in the shadows. The new moon lands in your 8th house of mysteries, secrets, energetic bonds, shadows, shadow work. It's a very deep, dark, spooky house, and it's normally ruled by Scorpios. So this is an energy you're familiar with if you're a Scorpio rising. You're no stranger to what lies beneath, right? You like to have that privacy and that mystery to you if you're a Scorpio rising. But now is the time to get intimate with yourself. The 8th house rules intimacy. It's time to do a deeper exploration about your own depth. So the Gemini moon sparks that curiosity within us. But this is really a time to take a closer look at your own limiting beliefs, at your own shadows, and do it with an open heart and an open curiosity. And that can make it a little easier to unpack some of the darker things that we tend to store in our subconscious or stuff down. Think of it almost as if you are like reading a book and the book is your own life. And maybe you're going back to some chapters that you skipped over previously or that you kind of shoved away out of your memory, and do it, like I said, with a curious mindset. It doesn't have to be so serious, but this curious, childlike, intellectual Gemini energy can help us almost do these deep dives in a more analytical way and a more like, oh, okay, what can I learn from this? Rather than being like, oh gosh, that's dark, and being kind of like shameful about it. You know what I mean? Just being a little bit more lighthearted and like, okay, this is something maybe I've been suppressing, and how can it serve me to pull this up and observe it and just be more of that student to your own shadows. Okay, and the message coming for you, Scorpio risings. Ooh, so good, so good. This is the first one that's been like, oh, immediately, this is so on point. It says, unbound, releasing soul patterns, contracts, and past lives. Whoa. I mean, that is 8th house energy in one card. So this new moon could give you a whole new lease on life, honestly, if you're willing to release the past, release those shadows, release soul patterns. It could even be something that's not in your conscious awareness that you've been holding on to from past lives. The 8th house is that it's deep, you know, it can go, it's karmic. It can go several lifetimes back. So just being curious about your own past lives, your own darkness, the soul contracts that you've created. A cord cutting meditation could be really powerful for you if you are a Scorpio rising. Okay, Libra risings. This new moon lands in your 9th house. We love the 9th house. The 9th house is all about expansion. It's all about what do you want to learn? Like, how do you want to expand? How do you want to grow? Where do you want to go? What do you want to see? The possibilities are endless for you if you are a Libra rising. And this is a time to shoot for the stars, embark on grand journeys. You might want to just like book that trip to Europe under this new moon and know that you're supported. This new moon's in your 9th house. It wants you to grow. It wants you to expand. It wants you to see new cultures and evolve into your next level. And the card that came through for you is trust your path. Trust your path. If you knew you would be supported, what would you do? And I love that I pulled this card because in the horoscope on thespiritualjournalist.com, I wrote, you are supported. So what would you do if you knew you were financially supported, if you knew you were spiritually supported, if you knew your friends and family would support you? What course would you enroll in? What trip would you take? What new business would you start? There's so much potential for you, Libra risings, under this new moon. So much potential. And you have a lot of luck on your side too. So this is the time. Dream big and set intentions towards those big dreams, and then see where those take you. It could happen faster than you think it will happen. And above all, just trust the path. Trust that if you set that big dream, you set that big intention under this new moon, that the path will unfold before you. I appreciate this so I can have more compassion for the 2 Scorpio risings I live with. That is the beauty of astrology. That to me is why astrology has changed my life. Having more compassion for other people, understanding, oh, they're going through a difficult transit right now. It's not just me that they're taking it out on. Like, they're experiencing their own stuff. Yes, 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 yes. And also inviting you to, you don't need to poke and pry at other people, but if you notice like they're feeling a little bit more low energy or a little off, just inviting you under the Gemini new moon, Katie, to ask, hey, is everything all right? Is there anything you want to talk about? No judgment. It's saying like, hey, this new moon's going through your 8th house. It might be bringing up a lot of deep stuff. So I'm here if you ever want to talk. And I am that person. Like, I will tell you, this is what transit's happening for you. So if something's difficult, you can come to me and talk to me. I get it. And that can be a game changer. It can be a game changer, inviting that intimacy, especially when we're dealing with an 8th house transit, showing someone, oh, you can be intimate. You can be vulnerable with me. All right, so we did Libra risings, knowing that it's expansive, you're supportive, have those big dreams, go after them. Last few. Virgo risings, my fellow Virgo risings, this new moon lands in our 10th house. This is all about long-term goals and career. So what's the long-term plan? If you're a Virgo, you love a plan. Virgo risings, we love our plans, right? But sometimes it can be very immediate. These are all the things I need to do today, right? These are all the things I need to do this week. And it's more of like a need to do. But this new moon invites you to zoom out a little bit and think about the long-term plan. What's the end goal? Where is the destination? Patience is key, but new projects started right now can stand the test of time. So this is a really favorable time if you're a Virgo rising to start something new that you can see in your distant future. And really reflect on, if you're a Virgo rising, you're ruled by Mercury, and so Mercury retrograde, this is a very reflective time for us. Reflect on the long-term plan. Reflect on the long-term goals. Keep your eyes on the prize and know that everything is going to unfold exactly how it's supposed to, but this new moon just really invites you to hold that vision and revisit that vision. You probably already know what your long-term goals and plans are if you're a Virgo rising. You probably don't need more clarity on that. Maybe you do, but I have a feeling you don't. And, this is just a time to assess whether your daily habits, whether the things that you're doing right now are supporting the long-term plan. And the card that's coming through for Virgo risings, you're already doing it. Stop overthinking. Keep facing your true north. You're already doing it. I love this. I mean, I love this for me. But yeah, this is such a good reminder, especially for those of us who are overthinkers, aka Virgo risings. The long-term plan, it's already playing out. You're already doing it. Keep going in that direction. Keep your eyes on the prize and know that every step of the way you are being supported. And those long-term plans will come. Sometimes we can be a little impatient as Virgo risings. Just know that it's all playing out and it's all happening in divine timing. It's all happening in divine timing. So revisit the long-term plan and then trust that it will happen in the timing it's supposed to happen. Oh yes, Scorpio rising, Gemini moon, 8th house. You are very familiar with this current weather energy. Yeah, this is your lunar return. Like, this is very on point for you. Like, you get it. You are aligned with the energy fully right now. I love that though. Gemini moon is a fun moon to have. It makes us very social and we can, share our feelings with other people pretty easily. But it's interesting that this is in your 8th house too, because you probably really like to have intimate conversations. If you're a Scorpio rising and you have your moon in the 8th house, it's like that intimacy is what you crave. And so with this being so aligned for you, lean into that. Intimacy is your friend with this new moon in your 8th house. I'm right there with you, Ken. Virgo rising. Yes, impatience. Patience is one of my greatest lessons I am learning in this life, for sure. Hi, everyone. And don't worry, we haven't gotten to your rising sign yet. I don't think. Have we? Oh, we have. That's okay. You can rewind. Sorry. Okay. Last couple. Leo risings. This new moon in Gemini lands in your 11th house of community and humanitarian causes and the collective. So the question for you under this Gemini new moon is, who are you surrounding yourself with? If you are a Leo rising, you have no problem showing up and being bold and having your presence be known. But sometimes you can do that really anywhere, right? Like there could be like, I don't want to say a lack of filter, but the beauty of being a Leo rising and the beautiful thing I love about my friends who are Leo risings is they are just kind of themselves in whatever setting they're in. You know, like they're like, I am who I am. I'm going to show up as my full authentic self regardless of where I'm at. But this new moon invites you to really pay attention to who do you like being around? Who makes you feel even more you? Your community is really your biggest asset under this new moon. So if you are wanting to start a new project, Leo risings, or embark on a new adventure, innovate in any way, your community is going to be really helpful for you. And so whether it's bouncing ideas off of your community under this new moon and saying like, what do you think about this? Or putting out your idea to your community and saying like, hey, I want to start this new project, and seeing what that support looks like. Those can all be really helpful things to keep in mind as you're setting intentions, and knowing that you have people around you who want to see you succeed. And this new moon could also, Gemini energy can be a little gossipy, right? This new moon could show you the community members or the people you're surrounding yourself with who don't fully support your dreams or your intentions you're setting in this next chapter. So this could be a time for you, Leo risings, to really like weed out anybody who's not hyping you up as you deserve to be hyped, because we know you're always hyping everyone else up. You deserve to have a community of people who does the same for you. And the message coming through for Leo risings is the initiation, rite of passage, crossing the threshold. Oof. I love this for you. Could be an initiation into a group of people or a new community under this new moon, or an initiation you are stepping through for yourself, knowing your own value, knowing your own worth, and knowing that you deserve to be so held and loved in whatever community you're in. That can be the rite of passage. That can be the threshold, that initiation of knowing your worth, knowing your value, and knowing that you don't have to perform for any group of people you're with. Finding those communities, because Leo risings can be a little bit performative, not in a bad way, just that's kind of your nature, is to show up and put on the happy face. But know that you don't always have to be like that. Find the people where you can just be you and bounce ideas off of without fear of judgment. Okay, last but not least, we love a Leo rising, yes. And last but not least, we'll talk about our Cancer risings, our sweet Cancer risings. Your question under the Gemini moon is, what do you need to let go of? What do you need to let go of? This new moon lands in your 12th house of closure, endings, healing, spirituality, religion. In order to start new in your season, in Cancer season, which is coming up before we know it, you really have to let go of the old. And this could bring about conversations that are very healing. But Cancer risings, you have to let your guard down. You have to be a little more vulnerable and be willing to experience other people's energy in order to fully get the big picture and understand what you do need to release, what you do need to let go of. So letting your guard down, having those really beautiful conversations with people you trust and feel safe with can be incredibly healing, and it can bring closure to maybe something that got brought up during eclipse season, or just something you've been dealing with along your healing journey for a long time. This could be a moment where you're almost like embarking on a new journey by saying goodbye to whatever is holding you back. This is a period of releasing for you over the next month. So thinking about brainstorming, what do I need to let go of? Having those vulnerable conversations, letting your guard down, all things to think about under this new moon. And the message coming through for you, keepers of the earth, you are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. I love that we got this when talking about the 12th house, because the 12th house is the house of our spirit guides, of our angels, of our spiritual support, essentially. It's why it rules religion and spirituality. So know that you are not alone, whether that's people physically here around you that can help you along your healing journey, or maybe this is a time for you, Cancer risings, to connect with someone who's passed on, or connect with someone you've never even met, a spirit guide that could come through for you if you open up your mind under this Gemini new moon and you're willing to, again, let your guard down, come out of your crab shell a little bit and see what support is there for you to help you release, to help you move on, to help you heal whatever it is that needs healing. All right. Those are all the signs, everybody. I'm glad so many of you felt that your horoscopes resonated, and I hope you're enjoying this new moon energy. There's a lot of excitement under this Gemini new moon. There's a feeling like, okay, it's almost like summer is here, Memorial Day weekend, the unofficial start of summer. It's like we're all stepping into this new energy, and there's almost a buzz in the air. I don't know if you can feel it, but I certainly can. It's like a lot of excitement, a lot of chatter, getting us ready for what's to come throughout Gemini season, throughout the summer. The summer solstice is only a few days away. A lot of exciting things are happening, but we still have Mercury retrograde. You can tell by my own speech and maybe the technology issues you are having during Mercury retrograde. I am still offering for this week only some mini readings for Mercury retrograde. So you can find how to book one of those at the link in my bio on Instagram, or you can literally just scan the QR code in the corner right now. So here's that offering. If you're interested, $44 for 22 minutes. We'll talk about where Mercury is in your chart. We'll talk about your own personal relationship with Mercury and kind of how to reflect, sort through maybe things that have been coming up through Mercury retrograde and any other questions that you have. So just a lower price point than my normal readings for anyone interested. Like I said, that's this week only. And tomorrow, another exciting opportunity, very Gemini new moon, if you will. I will not be live. However, there will be a show waiting for you tomorrow morning. So we are going to be on the local news for Goddess Night Out, the monthly women's dance night we have created here in the Sacramento area. So if you're local to Sacramento, watch us on Good Day Sacramento tomorrow morning in the 9 and 10 o'clock hours. And I hope you'll join us for a night under the full moon and ushering in the summer solstice. We have these every month, and it's just a really awesome way for women to connect with each other and connect with themselves, unleash their goddess energy. It's been so fun the past couple times we've already done it, and this will be our biggest event yet. I believe you can stream it at gooddaysacramento.com. Let me look that up. I think you should be able to stream it. But of course I will post, yeah, they're live right now actually. I'll post the clips after the fact on our Instagram, and yeah, it's gonna be fun for me. For those of you who don't know, I used to be on the local news. That was my profession before I left the news industry to start my own show. And so it'll be really fun for me to be on the other side. I'm normally the one interviewing and facilitating the live shots, and this time I'll be on the other end. So it'll be really fun. Yes, so magical. The next will be one to remember. I'm so excited. It's going to be disco themed also, and I love disco. So if you've been thinking about coming to Goddess Night Out, like I said, if you're local to Sacramento, it's going to be a really fun one. We're all getting dressed up and listening to disco music. Our DJ is called Groovy Goddess. Like, how perfect is that? We're going to have a vintage shop there. We'll have mocktails. We'll have bites. We'll have a sound healing at the end. Lots of fun stuff to look forward to. So just wanted to give you a heads up that I will not be here live. I won't be able to answer your questions tomorrow, but I will do a short forecast that will release tomorrow morning for those of you who still are looking for guidance. All right, everyone. That's going to do it for this new moon forecast. Happy manifesting, happy setting your intentions, having these conversations that bring new insight and new ideas. I'm so excited about this energy, and I hope you are too. And I will see you right back here live on Wednesday morning. But for those of you who can tune in tomorrow, like I said, there will be a forecast waiting for you. Until I see you next, wherever that is, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.